There's a word for what's happening in this photograph. To me, it's not negative space, it's not minimalism, but it's a Japanese concept called ma. And a painter figured it out 200 years before anybody ever pointed a camera at it. Before we jump in, I just want to take a minute and say welcome back to everybody who's been here before. Appreciate you very much. And first time here, special welcome to you. Glad you're here and hope you enjoy it. We just talk about artists from the past, the way they saw and some of their work and how it might just change the way we look at photography today. Simple as that. This week, we're headed to a country that we hadn't spent too much time with, but it's full of artists and photographers, just so much for us to discover. We're headed to Japan, but to a specific period of Japan, the Edo period, where Japan completely closed its borders to anything outside. Hokusai was born in 1760. Started drawing and painting when he's pretty early, some say around 6 years old, and never really stopped. By his own account, he said, "Nothing I made before the age of 70 is worth keeping." He lived to be around 90 years old. Just depends on if you look at a Western calendar or a Japanese calendar. Had over 30 names and moved around 90 times. I've read that basically the reason he moved is because he didn't like cleaning up a whole bunch. So when it got too messy, he just moved. He produced over 30,000 works, from woodblock prints, painted scrolls, and 15 volumes of what he called the manga. Yeah, he was the original manga. Everyone knows the wave, one of the most reproduced pieces of art in art history, actually. But if you look past the drama, the clawing wave and the terrified boatman, you see Mount Fuji. And in this, Mount Fuji basically represents Japan. It kind of just sits motionless, quiet, in the distance. But the wave here isn't the subject. The space between the wave and the mountain is. The Japanese word is ma. It's often translated as negative space. But to me, that's like calling the ocean wet. While technically true, it completely misses the point. Ma is not the emptiness itself. It's what happens because of the emptiness. The way I see it is something like this. Ma cannot be created directly. It emerges when things enter a relationship with one another. It's kind of like a shadow. It isn't something that you make. It's something that appears between things. But here's the part where we as photographers might miss sometimes. Hokusai didn't just create one image of Fuji. Actually, he made 36. And then he made 10 more because maybe he felt 36 wasn't just enough. But each print shows the mountain from a different angle, different light, different weather, behind the wave, beneath the bridge, through the rain. The project isn't about Fuji. It's about how Fuji can change by what's around it. And he shows us by changing that, the mountain can become a different subject. So what does this have to do with us as photographers? Well, for me, it's changing the way I look. I'm learning to stop looking for just subjects, but the relationships between the subjects and the frame. Not the person, but the distance between the person and the wall behind them. Sometimes I might stand on a street corner for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, half an hour, watching light move, watching people move. But I'm really just looking at what I have in the background. And then I'm watching things move through the frame and the relationship between them and the background and really the space in between them. And the photograph, it might happen, it might not. But to me, it's all about the waiting. And every once in a while, if we're paying attention, that moment can become the photograph. Not because what's in the frame, but because of the space that finally gave it meaning. So the next time you're out with your camera, don't look for just subjects, but look for the subject and the space between them and what's around them. Watch what happens when something enters the frame. Watch the relationship. Watch the interval. Watch what happens to both the subject and the background. But most importantly, notice how you feel right before you press the shutter. Do you see that image that you want in your mind before you take it? To me, that's the ma. And maybe that's what Hokusai was chasing his whole life, Definitely not technique, but just better attention. But anyway, have fun with it, and as always, let's create something real.